Okay, so here we have a GFCI plug. You have your test button, reset button. Pretty much what this does, it's pretty much a breaker inside of a plug. And this one doesn't seem to be working properly. This is my GFCI tester. As you can see, I push the button, nothing happens. Excuse me. Now you also see these lights that light up. Now if this was working properly, these two lights would light up instead of these two lights. So what that tells me is there is something wrong with the way this outlet has been installed. Now on the front of your tester, it tells you what the lights mean. So with what we had the red and the middle orange light lit up, which means there is a hot neutral reverse. So let's jump in here and see what's going on. This item here is called a spark guard, arc guard, fire ring. Those are the three most common terms. Pretty much you have to have these in if you have tile or some kind of wood backsplash, or if it's inside of a cabinet. And pretty much you have to have these because your outlet is not going to be in your box completely. And this is your first means of defense against any kind of fire or arc. So here, let's open this up and see what we got. So first things first, I need to take all these wires off so I can identify my power. And also, before I do this, let's go ahead and show you this. All right, see your gold screws over here and your silver screws over here. Well, whoever wired this up originally wired it up backwards, and the plug tester was correct in saying that the hot and neutral were reversed. Now typically your black wire is going to be your power or your hot or your line, and your whites are typically your neutrals, which go on the silver screws. So easy way to remember that: black to gold, white to silver, and green is your ground wire, which is either bare copper or it's sheathed in green. So now I'm going to take all these wires off very carefully because this is a live circuit. And they have, there we go. Now whoever wired this used a drill. You can tell by how tight that is. And you really don't want to use a drill to tighten these up because you run risk of breaking your screws. Now, just like a car battery, you want to take your hot wire off first, and then you go and you remove your neutrals. Now, since this was wired backwards, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to completely disassemble this and install a brand new one. As you see here, I have it. Brand new plate, brand new plug. So now my next step is to separate these wires off into the correct pairs. And you want to be careful, you don't want to touch any of these wires together just in case they are live. In this case they are. So I have one pair of wires up here and one pair of wires here. Now I need to test and find out which set of wires is carrying my power, and that'll be my line side. So turn my meter on, and so I have it hanging there. And that right there has 120 volts, and this here has 0. So that tells me these top wires here are my line, which means they're carrying in my power. And this bottom set of wires is my load. So first things first, you install your ground wire to the green screw. And I like to do this on your plug. You have your line side, which is your power, and your load side, which is the line going out, going to your next plug. So white to silver. White to silver. So now these neutrals are hooked up correctly. So now I want to rotate to the other side of this GFCI receptacle. And this here was my load wire because I had no voltage on it. So it's going to be paired off with its opposite neutral. Or not opposite neutral, the neutral that it's paired off with. You keep them paired together. So both of these are my load wires. And now for my hot, or my line. So now I install all of these. And these screws that come on it are too short, so I want to replace them with 632 screws. Now with the tile backsplash, you don't want to get it on there too tight because you don't want to break your tile, but you also don't want it loose. Now we're going to install our plate. And now to press the reset button, and it resets, so we're off to a good start. We take our plug tester, and then voila, our correct wires are now lighting up, and it works. And that is how you replace and partially troubleshoot a GFI breaker. I'm sorry, a GFI plug.